This is the first turtle graphics problem from our class on Thursday. So what we want to do is we want to draw parallelograms, and we want to allow the user to input the background color, the pen color, the length of a side, and the number of parallelograms to draw. So that's the easy part. Let's get started on that and get that out of the way. So background color and pen color. Let's do that first. So actually we need to import turtle. Okay, so let's get the background color. That's going to be text, so we don't need to change it at all. We can just use a regular input command because an input command returns text. And just a couple of things about prompts. First of all, make sure you spell everything correct. Make sure you use correct grammar. And that includes putting a capital letter at the beginning and a question mark at the end if you're asking them a question. And it's nice to leave a space there after the end of the prompt so that what they type in doesn't run into the prompt. So I'm going to get the background color. I'm going to get the pen color. I'm going to get the length of a side. That's going to be an integer, so we'd have to convert whatever the input is. And then I want to know how many figures I'm supposed to draw. I'm going to call that count. And what I want to do is, I see that's supposed to be orange and it's not because I didn't hit the P key hard enough. Okay, so now I've got the input that I need, and what I want to do is I want to write the code for drawing a parallelogram. Before I do that though, I should probably set these colors. So win dot background color, and we're going to specify back color is the name of the variable. Then we're going to do pen color, and that's just color. This is not an assignment statement. We're calling a function that sets the color to whatever we send it. And side and count did not have anything to do with turtle, so we don't need to mess with those. Now, I want to write the code for drawing one rhombus. So I'm going to need to have the turtle go forward a ways, then either turn right or left 60 degrees, and then turn the same direction 120 degrees, and we need to do that twice to get all four sides. So here is the code for drawing one parallelogram. Okay, and the code's going to look like this: T dot forward, and you notice there's a shortcut for forward that we can do, so I'm going to do the shortcut, and it's going to be the length of one side. And then I'm going to have the turtle turn left, and he's going to go 60 degrees, and then I'm going to have T dot FD side again, and then I'm going to go left 120 degrees. And it doesn't really matter what you use for the two turns here as long as they add up to 180. 60 and 120 kind of make a nice symmetrical rhombus, but you could pick any two numbers there that you wanted to. But then you need to make sure you repeat those same numbers again when you turn around and go back. So after turning left 120, I need to go forward a side, and then I need to go left 60. And then I need to go left 120, and I could just copy these two lines here. So let's do a Control C, and let's go down to our bottom here and do a Control V. So go forward, left 60, go forward, left 120, go forward, left 60, and I messed something up here. I copied the wrong one, so I want to go T.FD side. And up here, I didn't spell the letter T right, which is pretty hard to do. So every other one should be going forward, and in between I should be going 60, 120, 60, 120. Now, this last turning 120 is important because it gets you back facing the original direction. And then we can, after we do that, we can turn, and we will start drawing a new one, basically at the same orientation as the first one was. Now, it's not a good idea to try to write an entire program and see if it works. It's better if you do it in pieces. So we're going to click on this, and we are going to run the program. And the background color I'm going to choose is black, and the pen color is going to be lime, and the length of one side is going to be 250. And let's draw 90 of these, so there'll be 4 degrees. Actually, that doesn't matter. We're not doing that yet. So, okay. So, it didn't work. I have an error here, and it says turtle has no attribute FT, and apparently I misspelled something here, and that should have been FD, not FT. Okay. So, let's try it again. And I got an error over here on my console, so I need to close that and start over. That seems to happen a lot with Turtle Graphics. So now let's go ahead and run it. Background color will be black. The pen color will be lime again. And the number there doesn't really matter. That should open up another window for me, and it should draw a rhombus for me. And that looks pretty good, although I think it's going to get cut off when I get up here, so I'm going to have to make that a smaller number. I will try 200 the next time I run it. Okay. Now, okay, it's not closing for me. Let's go here and close it the hard way. And if I look down at the bottom, it looks like it's closed. So now what I want to do is, this is the code for drawing a parallelogram. I want to do that as many times as the user tells me. So I'm going to tab that in so it can be repeated. And before that, what I have to do is I have to put a for loop. So for, and I always use I unless I've used it already, and I can't because I've got a loop inside of a loop. But for I in range, got to put a space in there. And the range is going to be count, whatever the user told me. So if they said they want 10 parallelograms, I'll do this 10 times, and I'll get 10 parallelograms. Now, after I draw one parallelogram, then what I need to do is I need to turn, and I'm going to do T dot left. And the amount to turn is going to be 360 degrees divided by whatever the count is. Okay? So if they wanted 4 of them, and I divide 360 by 4, I'm going to turn 90 degrees on each one, and they will be symmetrically distributed in a big arc that will end up looking like a flower if I draw enough of them. Okay, so let's, this should do it now. Let's go ahead and run it. And I forgot to put my colon on the end, so that did not do it. Now let's try it again. And my background color is going to be black, and my pen color is going to be lime again, and my size is going to be 200. That might still be too big, I'm not sure. How many figures to draw? Let's do 90. And then let's flip over and watch it draw 90 of them. And it looks like it's going to do it. It looks like it'll probably fit on the screen too, but you know what? That's way too slow, so I'm going to stop it. And before we do anything else, at the beginning here, we're going to do T dot speed 0. And that is the fastest speed we can get. And let's go ahead and run it again. It should not take too long to do it this time. So the background color is going to be black again. Lime, length of one side is 200. And we'll draw 90 figures. And yeah, that's not going to take too long. And if you don't trust me, you can pause the video there and count them, or alternatively, you could just try this code with a smaller number that's easier to count. Okay, let's go ahead and stop this. And I got a problem again, so I'm going to have to close my console window over here. Now, one thing that makes it a little bit easier to test your code. After the input, put OR, and then put another value that you want for default. And here's the way this works. If what we input here is if we just hit the enter key when this input statement gets executed, then since there's nothing here, it will choose black. Same thing here. If there's nothing here, it will choose line. And down here, this has to be right after the input, so it can't be inside, or can't be outside of the parenthesis here. So it's got to be inside. And I'll put OR, and this is expecting a string. So I do have to make this a string. So I'm going to do 200 for my length, and then for number of sides down here, let's do a default for that. So on every single one of these, whoops, I better put the word OR in here. So on every single one of these now, I should just be able to hit the enter key, and I will get 30 parallelograms on a black background with a lime pen and a length of one side of 200. So let's go ahead and run it. I'm going to take all the defaults here. Okay, and actually before I do that, let's see if we can get this other screen to show up here. So there it is, because it's going to go fast. And my back, oh, I can't do that. But I can do this. I can drag this over and slam it against the side, and then I can open up my Python Turtle Graphics. Okay, so now I can see that on the screen, and now I'm going to go over here, and the background color, I'm just going to hit enter. Come on, okay. Enter, 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 enter. Okay, I made a mistake on line 15, so let's look at line 15. How many colors, figures to draw? And I'm going to stretch this out just a little bit so I can see more. Okay. The input statement ends there, and I put that inside the input statement. Now we should be good. Now let's go ahead and try to run this again. And I'm just going to hit enter, 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 and now we should get 30 of them over here. And this is probably easy enough to actually count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And I'm halfway through, and that's 15, so it looks like I'm getting 30. So that's how you do the problem we did in class. I'm getting a little warning over here. It doesn't like extra spaces before and after the word OR. I wanted it to stand out a little more, make it clear what was on each side of the OR, so that's why I did that. That's just a warning, and that is from Kite, and it's just telling me, it warns me, not about necessarily just about stuff that's incorrect, but stuff that might be unconventional, okay? It doesn't conform to the style conventions for a Python program. So we have looked at some input commands. We have figured out how to make them a little bit shorter by giving a default value every time, so you can test your program a little bit more easily. We've written the code for one parallelogram, which is what you should always do. Whenever you're doing something for a loop, you should write the code that goes in the loop and don't do the loop. Just execute the code once by itself and make sure that it works. It's much easier to debug one parallelogram that's wrong than it is to debug 30 parallelograms that are wrong. So do that, then go back and put your loop in. And you notice we don't need those last two statements here. One of them is by, I forgot what the other one is. If we just close the window when we're done by clicking on the red and white arrow here, actually, we do need those. That's why clicking on it's not working. So hang on a second. Okay, I've got those two commands on the clipboard now, and we're going to put those in. And I am probably going to have to go down here to the bottom, and let's see if I can close it that way. Can I close the window that way? And it looks like I still can't, so I'm going to have to go over here and just kill everything. And it's giving me grief here. It wants you to hit the enter key at the end of the last line, so that will take care of that one. Now let's run it again, and I'm going to, I can't drag that over yet because Turtle Graphics is slow. Okay, there we go. It's finally responding. And I'm going to make this a little bit narrower so we can kind of see everything here. And what that also did over here was it made my console window kind of narrow. But I'm not typing anything. I'm just going to hit enter, 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 enter. And there is my flower made up of 30 rhombuses.